Power is not given, it is seized. But most people waste their ambition, drifting without vision, chasing without discipline, surrounding themselves with weakness, clinging to comfort, dabbling instead of devouring, collapsing the moment they fall. This is why they remain ordinary. But you, if you are listening now, you are not here for ordinary. You are here to master ambition as a weapon, to turn hunger into empire, to carve your life with the precision of a blade. In this doctrine, you will learn 7 Machiavellian laws of ambition. Each one is ruthless, exact, and unforgiving. They will demand sacrifice. They will strip away your illusions, and they will leave you with something far rarer than motivation, clarity, control, and conquest. By the end, you will not simply feel inspired. You will carry a strategy. 7 laws that can turn raw desire into inevitable power. So listen closely and remember, the world does not reward the dreamer. It crowns the strategist. Law 1. Clarify your vision. Define or be devoured. Ambition without clarity is not strength. It is chaos disguised as effort. The world does not bend to vague men. Power never serves the uncertain. It kneels only to those who speak their vision with precision. And you? You wander aimlessly, proud of your ambition, yet unable to name the crown you seek. You drift, squandering time, bleeding energy into distractions, mistaking movement for momentum. A general who marches without a map will not win. He will die on foreign soil.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoy today's content.
Machiavelli himself warned, "It is much safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be lacking." Do you understand the weight of this? It is a declaration that clarity is greater than popularity, that choosing, even at the cost of virtue, creates power. A ruler who hesitates between paths is destroyed. Clarity is the blade that cuts through indecision. In your world, clarity is not optional, it is survival. If you do not define your victory, your enemies will. Mediocrity will script your life. Comfort will crown itself king, and you will wake decades later, enslaved by distractions you once tolerated. The world respects only those who declare, without apology, the exact throne they will sit upon. So here is your weapon. Write your vision in ruthless detail: wealth, health, influence, or legacy. Reduce it to a single sentence, sharp enough to be carved on your tombstone. And with every decision you face, demand of yourself, does this serve my vision? If not, strike it down. Remember this: ambition without vision is noise. With vision, it becomes destiny. Machiavelli would never speak of ambition without sharpening it into a weapon. He would draft his vision as a blueprint of conquest, not in abstract dreams, but in concrete terms of territory, alliances, armies, and influence. He would discard all distractions that did not serve that singular pursuit. To him, clarity was not philosophy, it was survival. He would ask only one question: does this action secure my power or weaken it? And then he would act, decisively, even ruthlessly, because hesitation was death. Law 2. Forge ruthless discipline. Chain yourself or remain a slave. Discipline is not restriction, it is liberation. It is the weapon that transforms fleeting desire into inevitable conquest. The weak wait for inspiration, the strong chain themselves to action, but you, yes, you, wait for motivation like a beggar waits for alms. You surrender to moods, to fatigue, to distraction. You confuse impulse with strategy, as if ambition will carry you without chains. You dream of crowns, yet live like a servant to your own whims. Machiavelli observed that fortune bends only to the disciplined. Fortune is a woman. and it is necessary, if you wish to master her, to conquer her by force. Fortune belongs not to those who hope, but to those who prepare. Discipline is the armor of virtù, the strength that bends chance into submission. In your world, luck is irrelevant to the disciplined. While others waste years waiting for a spark, the disciplined sharpen their weapons daily, stacking advantage upon advantage until fortune itself appears to serve them. Fortune smiles only at those who have already chained themselves to the grindstone. So here is your command. Fix your wake-up time and never negotiate with sleep. Establish work blocks that are sacred and untouchable. Treat indulgence not as a right, but as a luxury earned through results. Chain yourself with ritual, with routine, with iron commitment, and you will walk freer than those who live enslaved to their desires. Discipline is destiny's leash. Either you hold it, or it holds you. And what would Machiavelli do? He would not pray for luck. He would break it into submission. He would bind his days with order, waking at the same hour, working by ruthless schedule, never leaving fortune to chance. He would crush distraction as if it were an enemy army at his gates. For he knew the truth. Discipline is the only throne upon which fortune dares to kneel. Law 3. Surround yourself with higher standards. Choose wolves, never sheep. Your ambition will never rise above the ceiling of your circle. Mediocrity is a disease, and it spreads like a plague. But greatness is contagious too, and it only infects those who dare to stand among the strong. And you cling to friends who comfort you instead of challenge you. You fear isolation more than stagnation. You wrap yourself in the warmth of the small-minded, and in doing so, you suffocate your own fire. Machiavelli declared, "The first opinion which one forms of a ruler's intelligence is based on the men he has round him." A prince who surrounds himself with flatterers is despised. A prince who surrounds himself with the capable is feared and respected. The strength of a ruler is measured not only by his own will, but by the sharpness of those he chooses to stand beside him. And so it is with you. Your standards are stolen from your circle. Stand among the ambitious, and your hunger sharpens. Stand among the weak, and your fire dies quietly. You cannot claim greatness while dining with mediocrity. Audit your circle. Ask who pushes you forward and who drags you down. Cut ties with the comfortable mediocrity you once called friend, for sentimentality is a luxury the ambitious cannot afford. Place yourself in rooms where you are the least accomplished person, and rise until you dominate even there. You are not judged alone, you are judged by your company. Choose greatness or inherit mediocrity, and what would Machiavelli do? He would banish flatterers, silence the soft, and surround himself only with minds sharper than steel. He would never tolerate a court of weakness, for weakness is betrayal disguised as loyalty. He would sit only among wolves, because to rule among wolves is to rule unchallenged. Law 4. Convert desire into measurable goals. Count or be counted out. Dreams are nothing but smoke until they are measured. What cannot be tracked cannot be conquered. Ambition without numbers is not ambition at all. It is fantasy. It is a soldier charging into battle without weapons, a general giving orders to an army that does not exist. And you, yes, you speak of someday. You boast of wealth, of influence, of empire. Yet when asked for specifics, you stumble. You say, "I want to be rich." But rich is not a number. You say, "I want to be powerful." But power without a measure is a delusion. You say, "I want to leave a legacy." But legacies are not built on wishes. They are carved in blood, brick, and time. Your ambition is theater, not strategy, a stage play where the curtain falls before the war even begins. Machiavelli understood this truth. He wrote that rulers must never rely on vague hopes but on concrete foundations. Citizen armies, fortified cities, unbreakable laws. He despised mercenaries because they gave rulers the illusion of strength without the substance. A rented army vanishes the moment danger appears, and so too do your some days. They evaporate in the first storm because they were never measured, never owned, never real. Your mercenaries are vague goals. Your fortresses are measurable targets. A fortress has walls, towers, battlements. It can be counted, it can be seen. It either stands or it crumbles. But vague desire? It collapses in silence, leaving you with nothing but regret. So I tell you this: translate every desire into a quantifiable metric. If you seek wealth, define the number. If you seek power, define the seat, the title, the role. If you seek legacy, define what will remain long after your body is dust. Break years into months, months into weeks, weeks into daily actions. Do not drift in the fog of ambition. Chart your course with ruthless detail. Track progress relentlessly. Count victories, count losses, count every inch of ground gained. And when the numbers reveal weakness, adjust without mercy. Change the strategy, never the vision. Adapt or die. Because the world does not reward vague dreamers. It rewards ruthless counters. Kings counted their men. Generals counted their horses. Machiavelli counted coin, soldiers, fortresses, allies, enemies. He knew the truth. What is measured can be controlled. What is not measured will betray you. The ambitious don't dream, they measure. And what would Machiavelli do? He would never whisper of greatness without ledger and calculation. He would draft his ambition like a war campaign, lists of allies, inventories of weapons, timetables for conquest. He would measure armies not in theory, but in flesh and steel. He would know the exact price of loyalty and the exact number of enemies to be eliminated. To him, someday was the language of fools. He would count, and then he would conquer. Law 5. Embrace strategic sacrifice. Bleed today, or starve tomorrow. Every throne demands tribute. Power is not inherited without a price. To rise, you must burn comfort, time, and even relationships on the altar of ambition. Sacrifice is not a curse. It is the currency of greatness. But you want everything. You want success without sacrifice, growth without loss, victory without scars. You worship the illusion of balance, the myth that you can keep all comforts and still seize the crown. But power is never balanced. It demands trade-offs. It devours the soft-hearted who cling to everything until they are left with nothing. Machiavelli understood this truth, and he praised Cesare Borgia for it. Borgia sacrificed even his closest allies when they no longer served his rise. He declared, "Men must either be caressed or destroyed. Mercy for those who serve, elimination for those who hinder. Sacrifice is not tragedy, it is necessity." Borgia carved his empire from the flesh of former friends. That is why his enemies feared him and why his name is remembered. And so it must be for you. Greatness requires the knife. To gain, you must cut. Those who cling to everything, comfort, safety, the approval of weak friends, end with nothing. Every step upward demands something left behind on the floor below. Here is your command. Identify the comforts that weigh you down and discard them. Comfort is the slowest form of death. Calculate which relationships truly serve your vision and which quietly sabotage it. Do not hesitate. Remove them with cold precision and sacrifice pleasure for leverage. Every indulgence you deny yourself becomes fuel for your ascent. Every sacrifice you make today becomes power tomorrow. Ambition feeds only on what you are willing to kill, and what would Machiavelli do? He would sacrifice without hesitation. He would trade loyalty for advantage, discard comfort for conquest, burn bridges that no longer led to power. He would measure every bond in terms of utility. Who strengthens my hand? Who weakens it? And when the answer was clear, he would act. Not tomorrow, not after hesitation, immediately, decisively. Because he knew the truth. The throne belongs not to those who want everything, but to those willing to kill anything that stands in the way. Law 6. Cultivate obsession, not interest. Live it or lose it. The ambitious do not dabble. They do not try for a season, flirt with effort, then vanish when the work becomes heavy. They turn their craft into religion. They sacrifice at its altar daily. Interest is weak, it plays. Obsession is power, it conquers. But you are curious, not committed. You skim the surface of many pursuits, but never dive into the depths of one. You start, you stall, you drift. You claim ambition, but your actions betray you. Your ambition dies not from violence, but from starvation, malnourished by your shallow commitment. You treat your craft like a hobby, not a destiny, and the world devours the casual. Machiavelli understood the difference. He admired leaders who embodied virtù, a relentless quality that consumed their lives, a total possession of purpose. He observed that those who conquered states did not dabble. They did not wander from goal to goal. They became singular, obsessed, unyielding. Their cause consumed them so completely that failure seemed not just unlikely, but impossible. Obsession was their armor, and so it is with you. In a world drowning in distraction, obsession is a superpower. While the masses scatter their attention, you must narrow yours to a blade. Those who live and breathe their work appear inevitable. Their rise seems unstoppable, not because fortune favored them, but because obsession made them immovable. Convert your craft into ritual. Make it the spine of your days, unshakable, untouchable. Remove hobbies that compete with mastery. Sacrifice the trivial to feed the essential. Saturate your identity with your ambition until quitting feels like death. Let it define you so fully that when others describe you, they speak not of who you are, but of what you embody. Interest plays. Obsession conquers. And what would Machiavelli do? He would not try. He would not split himself across scattered pursuits. He would bind his life to a single campaign and march until the city fell. He would study, plot, labor, maneuver, all with obsessive focus on one outcome: victory. He would cut off every path of retreat, ensuring his ambition was not a pastime, but his only possible future. He would live it completely, or lose everything. Law 7. Transform setbacks into fuel, turn wounds into weapons. The world does not crown the flawless. It crowns the relentless. The ambitious are not those who glide untouched through life. They are those who fall, bleed, and rise sharper after every fall. Failure is not your enemy. It is the forge where the ambitious are reforged into steel. But you treat failure like a death sentence. You sulk, you retreat, you bury yourself in self-pity as if the world owes you comfort. You let wounds fester instead of carving them into weapons. You let defeat shape your identity instead of sharpening your resolve. Every time you stumble, you mistake the ground for your grave. That is why you remain ordinary. Machiavelli understood what you do not. He wrote, "Fortune shows her power where virtù does not prepare to resist her." Fortune, capricious, violent, unforgiving, strikes down rulers to test whether they possess the strength to endure. Misfortune is not proof of weakness. It is the crucible in which true power is revealed. The weak collapse under the storm. The strong emerge unshaken, remade, and more dangerous. Failure is not a war. It is reconnaissance. It reveals the battlefield. It exposes flaws in your defenses. It teaches you where the enemy strikes and where you must strike back. To the weak, failure is the end. To the strong, failure is intelligence gathered at great cost, paid in blood, but priceless in value. So here is your command. Rewrite every failure as a lesson. Do not curse it, dissect it, tear it open, study it, extract its truth. Document your mistakes as if they were enemy blueprints. Build systems to prevent repetition, then rise again, quickly, Speed is your ally. For the longer you remain broken, the more you begin to believe you belong there. Do not let defeat harden into your identity. Move fast, rise faster, return sharper. The ambitious do not fear setbacks. They harvest them. They use every wound as fuel for the next assault. They bleed, they adapt, they strike again. And in time they appear invincible, not because they never failed, but because they learn to transmute failure into fire. And what would Machiavelli do? He would not sit in mourning. He would not whimper over fortune's cruelty. He would treat every setback as reconnaissance, every wound as a lesson, every betrayal as proof of where weakness lives. He would adapt with precision, recalibrate with ruthlessness, and return to the battlefield before his enemies realized he had ever fallen. To him, fortune's blows were not humiliation, they were intelligence. And intelligence, when sharpened by virtù, becomes power. He would not crumble before fortune. He would make fortune itself kneel.
Thanks for spending time in this. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.